Welcome back everyone to another GameMaker Studio 2 tutorial. I'm your host, Mario, and today we will be going over instance objects, or persistent objects, I mean. So, what's a persistent object? Well, if you know what the meaning persistence means, I think you probably know what a persistence object means. In case you don't, layman's terms, it's just an object that stays with you for the entire time. So, normally in GameMaker, you have your room, and you put objects in that room. And then you have another room where there's different objects. When you transition to the next room, or any other room, the objects from the previous room do not transfer over. Which makes sense. You don't want things transferring over. Except for some things, of course, like a player, and maybe a special object that just like a camera. But you might be asking, well, how do I make it, and when should I make something a persistent object? Well, just like I said, things like the player and the camera, and even what I make, which is a game manager, which pretty much is just a special object that is used to store and store variables and that can be used within the game and check certain conditions. You know, that's typically what I would use it for. One thing I have to say about it, if you use it too much, it becomes very, how do you say, it becomes too intensive for the game. Like, it uses a lot of memory. So one thing you could do too is not just make objects persistent, but make rooms persistent. And when I was working on Game 19, every room was persistent. And the problem was that would cause a lot of problems when it comes to how things saved in the game, how players, would transfer, how that all worked. And eventually I changed the whole system so it never used the persistence. And the thing is, it's kind of useless. It really is kind of useless to make a room persistent unless you really need it to be, depending on how your game is. But for most cases, like an RPG or something, you don't need to store, you don't need to keep the room persistent, because what that means all the objects in that room keep their place and position, and it causes like issues in the memory and with other things in the long term, like how are you going to save all that? Well, when you make a saving system, like a proper saving system like I have, you can actually, you don't have to do that. You don't actually have to do that. You just say, oh, here we go. This guy's going to save this thing. He might be in the same position if he moves, like just randomly. He'll be back to the starting position in the room editor. But guess what? He has like this quest that you had done for him saved. So that's the thing with persistence. It's something you don't want to use in everything. So all depends. If you need a game to be persistent, fine. If you need something to be persistent, that's fine. But it's just something you have to take in mind. So try not to use it too much. Anyway, let's actually get started. I've wasted 3 minutes rambling on about when to use it. So let's just go to one of our objects. So let's see which object's this one that's here. Fred. Yeah, let's just take Fred and modify him. So let's just say Fred Robinson. Yeah, now let's get rid of this. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. Let's just make let's keep him spinning, but let's make him, let's move him around. Say if x is less than 500, x plus or x plus equals 15, I don't know. And if if I want to say like this, I have to use the alarm. Well, let's just make, I don't know, making a thing go back and forth is kind of tricky without using an alarm. I haven't really quite figured this out. Well, let's just make them just move like really slowly instead. I don't want to spend too much time on how this would work. So let's just click play real quick to see if that that works. So as we wait for this to build, I will be making a series on how to make a simple game. Okay, so well, he moved. You couldn't see it because I didn't have it show, but I'm going to make this variable. What's the length of our room? It's the width of the room, I mean. Yeah, it's like... And let's just put, instead here, like 0.1. So he moves very slowly, so let's get game capture up here. So, yeah, schedules are just going to be a little bit wank. They're going to be... Let's see, is it this thing not going to capture? There we go. Yep, there he is. He's just moving very slowly. Alright, so let's make another object. I'm going to call this my GM. And this is going to just... This is what I always do. So we're going to make this persistent, right? One thing we're going to do is make this persistent. And we're going to drag this into the room. I always like to drag my managers and things that don't really have a sprite to the side if they are needed for... If it's something that's not going to be used in the game or something, specifically directly, I guess. So in Suits too, I have these dialogues. These dialogue objects that are just like this, but I put them in places where they are going to be triggered near, so I know oh, that's it organizes it a little bit better. But for game general overarching things in the game manager, I always put it in the little head corner there because it's just nice to have it there, and you just know. You could even give them a little spray. Actually, I've always thought of doing that, but no need for that. So let's go to create. We're not going to do much. All we're going to do, I just always add a create event because I always seem to use it. So we're going to add a F1 for key press. And we're going to say room go to. And we're going to make a new room. Create room 2. And we're going to just change the, no, let's keep it this size. Or just mess up. Okay, pretend I didn't do that. Oh, look. Got a new room now. Yeah, so that's so whatever. Yeah, so let's make the background color something obnoxious. There we go. Yep, that hurts my eyes. And we're gonna just we're gonna say go to room 2. I would make my own script, but there's no need to. And we're just gonna copy paste event. We're gonna change it so it's key press, and we're gonna say F2. And we're gonna say room 1. So when we press F1, we go to room 2. When we press F2, we go to room 2 or room 1. So let's see. Will this work? Oh yeah, make sure to press persistence on your game manager so that you can actually go back and forth. Alright. Oh. So, as we can see, we can change rooms. And this object does not stay with us. Actually, one thing you notice if you press F2 during here, you just reset the room. And notice how the object resets back to its original position and original angle. So let's fix that. Let's go back to Fred object and let's make him persistent. Simple as that. Now we'll watch. And now when we press F2, oh sorry, F1, he's here. Except he's a bit stretched because of the viewport. But he's still in the same position. So let's just go back to this room, and we should enable viewports and make this proper resolution. So if we now jump, oh, well, you know what? Something broke. Hold on. Ah, visible. It's kind of weird when you enable viewport, but then again, you have multiple viewports, so... And I've never used more than one viewport. I might want to try. Alright, there we go. We can just go back and forth and back and forth, and you notice one thing, it doesn't change. It's always going to be there. Anyway, that's persistent objects, guys. I mean, not very complicated. It's a pretty short video for my average. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.